Buckle up, Episode 5 amplifies Alice and mother issues to an extreme. In case thought last week's episode was packed with trauma, be ready for even more. From the moment we saw a flashback footage from WandaVision showing Agatha's coven, led by her mother Evanora, trying to burn her at the stake, I knew I was going to be in for a crazy and emotionally painful ride. Before the words, previously on Agatha all along, even flicker on the screen, when are we reminded of that? Chalco Roan once said, "Good luck, babe, in Agatha All Along, Episode 5, why are the Salem Seven following Agatha? Even on the Witch's Road, you are unable to elude the Salem Seven, you cannot run." Returning in animal shape. They are menacingly stalking throughout the shadowy woodland, calling Agatha's name with a vengeance. All of the coven is fast asleep until Lilia gasps awake and tells them that they must leave. When they cast the summoning spell, they left the entrance ajar, which allowed them to follow each other into the road. Whoops, Rio pushes Lilia very hard to give up this knowledge when the group asks her to describe what she sees. She is such a pot stirrer that I believe she would be a fantastic real housewife of the Witch's Road. Lilia tells that the young children were saved when Agatha killed her coven. Regretfully, the once kind children have now become ferocious vengeance hunters. Agatha believes that the lesson of the tale is to never give up on your goals and that mercy is overvalued. They argue in a way that is typical of a coven. Rio leaps to Agatha's defense, but Jen still believes she killed her coven and is the worst. Ultimately, her mother had attempted to have her put to death. She's capable of killing for that trauma as a treat. They don't have a lot of time to argue, with the Salem Seven quickly surrounding them. Teen suggests that they try to escape via broom, which they turn their nose up at. Brooms have been co-opted by the Holiday Industrial Complex. They're a symbol of female domesticity. Also, they're basic. But alas, they don't have a choice. They all, including Teen, grab a broom and exchange them ritualistically while the Salem Seven close in, and then they're on their way. There's a beautiful shot of them flying against the glowing moon and having an absolute ball, giggling and feeling free. Agatha seems to feel a sense of peace but can't stop looking at Rio. Why haven't they been doing this the whole time? Teen wants to know. They quickly get their answer as they begin falling, the road forcing them down. They all panic, save Rio, who cackles like a maniac. God, I love her. One of the Salem Seven attempts to block them from the next trial. A swarm of bees coming out of her mouth, but they push on. They arrive at a lodge with an incredible 80s slumber party motif. The production designers receive yet another W. Agatha is eager to see the good side because it doesn't appear like they can get in, but Jen is still stressing out at the fact that the entire Halloween aisle is outside. Agatha tells Teen that it's time to remove the training wheels because he's also freaked out because he can't find his magic book given the decor depicting the blood moon. When the curtain between the living and the dead is at its thinnest, Rio recognizes this as Agatha's trial right away. Then, shouldn't Lilia be put on trial for that? A teenager queries. Wonderful query, Teen, according to Lilia, talking to the dead is a scam, even though she can read time and people. Rio persists in taunting Agatha, pointing out that since she has killed so many people, she is the ideal candidate for this. Did Alice not say in the previous episode that the trials aren't subtle? True enough. There's a board of Ouija that falls. Teens are given a copy of the rules, which include not using it alone, not talking over one another, not challenging spirits, not asking questions about death, and not taking your hand off the board at the end of a session. An entity will be freed if you do this. Agatha is not super thrilled to figure out who's waiting for her, though she tries to play it cool. They all put their hands on the board, and the spirit of Mrs. Hart starts communicating with them using Agatha's body as a vessel. Just kidding. But Agatha pretends that Sharon has taken her over in one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen, with Han capturing Rupp's speech patterns and mannerisms with exaggerated perfection. Rio is amused at first but doesn't hesitate to call her out a moment later. She's just scared. After that comedic gold, Han continues her masterful performance in the dramatic direction. sitting back at the board and trying to contact the spirit, for real this time. Death has decided to come and play, according to the board, and it wants to punish Agatha. The board moves faster and faster, repeating Agatha's name and freaking Agatha out. She takes her hands off the board, and all hell breaks loose, with the lights flickering and the sound of screams filling the room. Jen believes the way they pass the trial is to kill Agatha, and soon, Lilia and Alice agree. Rio suggests they just slit her throat, with Teen the only one against said plan. Two bad familiars don't get a vote. Agatha disappears, and the lights go out completely. The next thing they see is Agatha crawling around on the ceiling, looking dead as a doornail. Bestie is possessed. Jen thinks she's faking it, but considering the horrifying sounds that begin to come out of her mouth and the unnatural way her body starts to contort, she abandons that theory. Agatha scares the hell out of Teen and attempts to strangle Jen before Lilia manages to turn on the lights. The not-so-friendly ghost of Evanora appears and Agatha, now returned to her normal state, has a chat with her. It was nice having her in her body, she quips, as she'd never felt so close to her before. Evanora tells the coven they're fools for joining Agatha after her coven risked everything to kill her. Lilia notes that emotion ties ghosts to the plane because of unfinished business, and Evanora's has to do with Agatha. Evanora tells them all that they must finish the Witch's Road, without Agatha. Rio jumps into protection mode, refusing to give Agatha to her. Sure, a minute ago, she was ready to slit Agatha's throat. But her mother? She can't have her. Agatha asks Evanora why she still hates her, and Evanora says she was evil the moment she was born. She ought to have killed her the moment she left her body. Upon hearing this, the coven seems to have some sympathy, but not enough to save her. Agatha begs them not to leave without her, pleading that she can be good. Alice blasts Agatha with her magic, saving her by expelling Evanora. Agatha begins to siphon Alice's power as she's always done, but as she does, Teen sees that the Ouija board is spelling out the name Nicholas Scratch. A little boy's voice calls out, telling Agatha to stop, and she does, but not before the life drains from Alice. A staircase descends as the final alarm of the trial sounds, but nobody is in a rush to leave this time. Teen panics over Alice's body, begging someone to do something, but they all gently tell him it's too late. Teen is furious at Agatha, saying Alice was trying to protect her even though she didn't deserve it. Agatha, ashamed, walks out. But when she discovers she now has Alice's powers, there's a flicker of intoxication on her face. Her moment alone trying to reckon with this is cut short as Teen storms out behind her, chewing her out. Agatha tells him she couldn't control it, but Teen thinks she's lying. This is all about power for her, isn't it? Jen's right behind him, angrily confirming that yes, that's all it's about for any of them. Lilia adds that death comes for them all. Who is Teen in Agatha all along? Episode 5, Teen replies that, at least not for him, being a witch is not about killing people to further one's agenda. Things seem to be about to alter radically and permanently in this coven, as things take a significant turn at this point. He's met with a terrifying stare down as Agatha laughs in his face. She places her fingers to his chin and asks, "Are you sure?" With a cunning sneer, she says, "You're so much like your mother," and gestures for him to follow. Teen's blue magic crackles in his palms as he grows enraged. He tells Lilia and Jen, whose eyes are flashing blue now, to push Agatha, who is struggling and objecting, off the road and into the slime that ate Sharon's purse. She wades into the water, pleading for help, but they turn a blind eye. A second later, they're all mud stew, courtesy to Teen. I feel shivers and begin to count down the hours till the next episode as a crown appears on Teen's head and Billie Eilish plays. Billy Maximoff, alias Wiccan, has arrived. How does Agatha All Along Episode 5 stack up? Putting Agatha's trial in the middle of the season feels like a bold move that reminds me of when Succession decided to kill Logan Roy toward the beginning of its final lap. That decision ultimately paid off, and I have a good feeling it will in this case, too. As someone who's been dying to get more background on Agatha herself for years, this episode scratched that itch. I'm so happy they didn't shy away from how screwed up the Ivanora of it all is and always has been, and gave us Rio being the soft and defensive one. That makes me even more excited to see the Salem scenes the trailers have been teasing. I'm bummed to have Alice gone. She added some nice heart to everything, but I don't think she ever quite gelled with the rest of the characters as well as she could have or got enough moments to shine, even after her trial last episode. I've said it once, and I'll say it again, these short episode runtimes are not helping things. Episode 5 was by far the shortest we've gotten, and it shows. Alice deserved a more proper send-off than what she got, the variety of emotions Han must portray in her role, as well as the speed at which the show requires her to switch between them, challenge her every week. Every single week, the masterclass feels both consistent and unexpected. In the closing seconds of this episode, I get to witness a different side of Locke, which just makes me happy. I am so excited to see where this new path takes him. As entertaining as it has been to see Teen act like a devoted admirer, I have a sense that it will be much more delightful to watch him compete against Agatha. That concludes our review for today, but the discussion is far from over. For more, leave a comment, hit like, and subscribe for more videos. Keep the magic of movies alive until the next time, signing off from FK Bytes.